Hello, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good.
Hello and welcome to the SC Ballers podcast. I am your host and coach of the Terrace crew, Matt Ricks. Well, we thought it couldn't get much bigger than Magic Round, but round 10 delivered in spades for SuperCoaches. It was a big case of did you pick the right captain or were you left behind on the weekend? Ryan Papenhuyzen, 176 of the best SuperCoach points you will ever see. My favourite line to trot out on this podcast, and I'm very pleased to announce that I did captain Ryan Captainhausen, so very, very pleased up here at Baller Towers. We've got a massive show leading to round 11. It's the last week before the first major buy round in round 12, and I have been busily studying the buy planning schedule. I was remarking to a friend today that it is good at the moment working at Baller Towers that 20% of my job is actually buy planning. So very, very keen to get stuck into that tonight. And joining me to help out, it's current 18th place overall, Coach of CMAX 86's Chris. Chris, welcome back to the SC Ballers podcast, and well done on a few green arrows after a tough drop after Magic Round.
Yeah, look, it's just been crazy scoring at SuperCoach the last few weeks. It's been amazing. So, yeah, very happy to see some green arrows. I punched out a 16:35. Was one of the lucky ones who went Captainhausen, which was amazing. What a Sunday afternoon to watch that. What a watch. Seriously, after 15 minutes, I was doing cartwheels. How good is this? So, no, great week. Yeah, good to get some green arrows. Hopefully you and I can push up into that top 10 if we keep making some good moves.
Hopefully, mate. I thought I went off a bit early on Sunday nights, claiming that we'd both already entered the top 10, but I was got a little bit ahead of myself.
Pumped up.
Very happy. Chris, whilst we may be ranked inside the top 30, the both of us, it's my honour to welcome the host of the Sunday Snap and Baller Brain, I'm going to call him. He's one of the more informed super coaches in the entire game. Coach of the Haas-Beans, it's Jono. Jono, welcome to the main podcast.
That was a lovely introduction, Matt. I really appreciate it. Like, Chris might be highly ranked, but he didn't get it's an honour to welcome, so I'll take it. Good to be here, Matty. Yeah, you're right. I am running a little bit of hot form at the moment. Hopefully I can bring some good advice and things to say to our listeners tonight.
Yeah, what's your current rank up there, mate? I know you're inside the top 3K or so now.
Excuse me, top 2K inside.
2K,
I don't know the exact number.
With a bullet.
But I do know it's top 2K.
Sporting a nice little bit of...
21,000.
I know. You're sporting a nice little bit of new merch there, mate. Can you just give just a quick summary of a little demo you got on there?
Yeah, look, Tubes and I, my co-host from the Sunday Snap, we're working on some merch. There's been people calling out for it. I got a couple of dad hats in, which look fantastic. Wearing a You Beauty one right now. I got a Baller shirt on. So, look, we're just trying to check the quality because there's people who are keen and we're hoping to make some announcements pretty soon in that space.
Quality control of the utmost important when it comes to Baller merch. Oh,
absolutely. We're not going to put rubbish out there.
All right, boys. How good's the nod on the podcast? Thanks, mate. All right, boys, let's get into some odds and ends here. We've got the Major League, the SC Ballers League, of course, 730. It's going to be a long one tonight. 730-444. Yeah, still at least 2 weeks to enter that. I'm going to confirm with the head honchos at Baller Tower just when we want to close that off, but it's going to be open till at least the end of round 12. We will confirm that in the next few days. Jump on in there. Currently, Romain is leading that. He is 9th overall. What's Romain's team name, Jono?
The main event.
I think it's the Romain event. Is it the Romain
event
as a pun on his name, or is it? If it's not the Romain event, it should be.
No, yeah, it's the main event.
It's the main event. So Romain, you need a name change.
That's a big missed opportunity, Romain.
Huge.
Like, I know you're 9th overall, but come on.
Be better.
He's probably out there. His first time in the top 10. And all we can talk about is his lack of pun in his name, but that's all right. He'll learn. He'll learn. Boys, Baller.live, still the fastest SuperCoach live score updates. We are feverishly working at Baller Towers to get some new features onto the site. We've got some cool stuff coming very, very soon. We've dropped in some, you would have noticed after the game, post-game, if you didn't notice Jono doing a snap review of which game was that, Jono? You snap reviewed the Dogs and the Raiders Saturday afternoon.
Raiders versus Dogs. That's the one.
You would have noticed the break evens, the projected break evens, and the price change updates that we're dropping after every game on X. And we're also doing them every day after on Instagram. And if we get enough TikTok, I did one on TikTok as well. We might even start rolling them all out on TikTok as well. But feedback on those has been fantastic. So we are going to hopefully be your number one resource for all things SuperCoach over the coming weeks and months. So go check us out, Baller. That's BALLR.live. And I promise you won't regret it. Reminder for the Q&A pod this Thursday, I would suggest it'll be me and Danny Boy again. Loving doing the Q&A. Just gives us that extra couple of days of context and to percolate on all the SuperCoach machinations for the upcoming week. And the questions have been coming thick and fast. So thank you very much to everyone for sending in your questions. You can catch us on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok, of course. We are at SC Ballers, or in YouTube's case, at sc.baller. We would love you to like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. Our subscriptions and likes are going through the roof. Give us a rating on Apple or Spotify. Really helps other like-minded SuperCoaches find us, and so we can spread the good word of SuperCoach. So, all right, boys, let's get into round 11. Now, generally we would do a positional analysis, but we're just going to try something different with so many great options this week and so many big decisions to be had. We're going to try a buy, hold, and sell component to each of the positions. So, Chris, starting this week, I've got the fullback at fullback, of course. I've got buys down as Ryan Papenhuyzen and Scotty Drinkwater, owned by 93 and 57% of teams in the top 10%. Remembering we always go off top 10% ownership as it gives the best indication. Those two guys, Chris, they're obviously very expensive, $825K and $906K. How would you be approaching those guys if you didn't own?
Geez, I'd have to move heaven and earth to get them both. Look, I know Scott Drinkwater and Papenhuyzen both have buys in round 12. Drinky's got a lovely buy run after that, but I think he's punched out 3 tons in a row. We spoke earlier today on our WhatsApp group about the move from Purdue to 5'8" and how that could potentially give more good ball to Scotty Drinkwater. If you don't own Scott Drinkwater at the moment, you're getting left behind. And I feel the same about Ryan Papenhuyzen. So I'd be moving heaven and earth to get them both in.
Yeah, I agree. Scotty Drinkwater's got the added bonus of being basically the best captain this week. So he is currently projected, baller projection of 93, which is the highest projection of the week, which I'm sure sends shivers down the 45% or so of SuperCoaches who do not own him in the top 10%. So I'm with you on both of those. For those who don't own Paps is a little bit trickier for me. I probably wouldn't buy him. Like, it's a shocker you've missed that. But he now misses 12 and 15. So it's likely you've got a Tedesco. It's likely you won't Drinkwater. And then maybe Iongi or something like that. So I'd probably let Pappy go at that price. But I can see why people would still want to get him in. Jono, on the hold front, we've got James Tedesco, Kalyn Ponga, Tommy Turbo, and Isaiah Iongi. Now, I want to just put the hold into context a bit here. Hold either means you hold them if you own them, or you hold off buying them just for this week. So with Turbo, I'm not suggesting buy Turbo, but it's a bit of a hold your horses to wait if he's selected for Origin. Would you agree on Teddy and Ponga that those guys are holds and not buys or sells?
No, I think if you can get Tedesco this week, you should. Like if you have the money to get from Ponga to Teddy this week, I say do it right now. I'd put him down as a buy. Yeah, I think so. I just don't. Why not? Like, what are you hoping to get out of Ponga? He looks terrible. If I had the money right now, I'd do it. I think CMAC might be in that position. He could maybe touch on his reasoning for why. I'm not doing it because I need another week to generate the cash to get up, but I would if I could right now.
Chris, you're in this boat, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at it right now. I've only owned Ponga for 2 weeks, the 90-odd in Magic Round, which was fabulous. But that 80 minutes watching last week, I nearly threw my remote through the TV. That's enough for me. I know that Jono and Dan, they've had him for an extended period. I don't know how they've done it. Well done, boys. But like, I'm honestly ready to jump right now. So I can make that move, and I think I'm going to. Like, I think Teddy is pretty schedule proof. Like, they're playing the Dogs, who are obviously very, very. They're flying. They're a great defensive team, but I think Teddy's still going to bust out a 75 minimum because he's just playing that well. Whereas Ponga, he could punch out another 30, and then I'm throwing remotes through TVs.
Yeah, I'm pretty hard against that line of thinking. I'm definitely holding Ponga this week. Match up against the Eels, you're right. So Teddy has a ball projection of 75. Now, we've got to say, projections aren't everything here because there's a lot of cash considerations and buy planning. But just in a vacuum, Ponga's got a projection of 85. Obviously, the Knights are favourite at home against the Eels, despite their poor form. I want to make a bit of a case that Ponga was a bit unlucky with his score on the weekend. He scored 35, or did he down-dated slightly to 33, possibly? Yeah. He was on 32 at half-time. Obviously, the Knights are up 20-0, but he was basically the last pass to every try assist. So I think he could have easily seen himself on 60 at halftime. Second half, like, the Knights just were so ill-disciplined with both penalties and dropping the ball. It just was blowing my mind. Obviously, Ponga is not in the form that we saw at the back end of 2023 and for parts of 2024. There's no doubt. And to be honest, if he makes Queensland, I am looking forward to punting him into the sun as well. But,
Matt, I
Jono,
think you're making
excuses. You and me had an argument on this. There is a chance that Ponga does not make Origin. In which case, he's a great number for round 12.
If he gets hurt this weekend, there's a chance, but otherwise he's making Origin. But, Matt, I think you sound like a new Kalyn Ponga owner. You're making the same kind of excuses for him that I did for the first 6 weeks of the year. He's now gone sub 50 6 times this season. Like, He's every week. It's big. He's just a bit unlucky. Is it an every week thing? Because it's happening more often than it's not. I don't think you're not as grizzled and hurt by him this year as I am.
No, but I'm wary as well. The other component here, which is a name I mentioned before, is Tom Trbojevic. Now, Tom is obviously likely to make the Origin team. He definitely is still carrying the effects of that knee injury. I'm 100% sure. Like, he didn't look right on the weekend. His leg had more strapping than an Egyptian mummy. I'm concerned now. I'm concerned now that he might not make Origin. So if he doesn't, he's going to be sub 600k next week. Ponga to Turbo in one move for no cash, might even make cash. Turbo would then play rounds 12 through to 15. There is no way I'm not picking up sub 600k Turbo for the bye period. He's never seen a bye period. And now we get to have him there, and that'll be first up. That'll be first up against Parramatta. There is absolutely no danger. So I'm actually worried that Teddy will take up that fullback slot that I'm going to want for Turbo. So I'm just going to hold off on that. I can decide next week. I am going to go Ponga to Teddy next week, in all likelihood. I'm just going to give it a week to see how it goes. I think Ponga is a good chance. I still might even stick the VC on him, Jono. So we'll see how we go there. Yeah. Well, just quickly, Chris, what do you think about Turbo for a bye period option if he doesn't make it? If he just came out for another 50 or so this weekend?
That would be amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. Tom Trbojevic is the premium of all premiums when he's 75% fit. So, yes, love it. Laurie's not that stupid. Has that thrown Laurie's
Teddy
not
trade?
that stupid. No way. That is the biggest if I've ever heard. He will be on the wing for New South Wales. Take it as read.
We'll see. I'm just going to keep my options open. Jono, Isaiah Iongi, he had a nice score on the weekend, 82. He's 532k now, break even off 36, still very heavily owned, almost 31%. Would you be holding him for another week, given you've ridden him this far, and sort of you're probably just getting him through around 12 now, aren't you? Maybe around 13.
Yep, one more week, and I think for a lot of people, he'll probably be their way to Teddy. One more week will do.
You wouldn't keep him for 12?
No, not if I wanted Teddy. I think Teddy's more important. I want 13 really strong premium players if I can get him for round 12.
And that's presuming you've got Drinkwater and Papenhuyzen in your other two fullback slots.
Correct. Yep, that's the assumption. I'm assuming if you've got Iongi, you've probably got those two.
Yep. Cool. All right, boys. Very robust discussion there at fullback. I hope that's setting the trend for the evening because we have some we have a lot of players to chat about at centre wing right now. All right, let's start with the sells. And look, this is controversial. I know Tubes is like already talking about this. Gehamat Shibasaki, 511k, 68 break even in 10% of teams still. Is it time for young GI? Oh my God, I've butchered that. Is it time to say goodbye to young GI? Jono.
Shit, bye-bye, Saki. See you, mate. Time to go. Break even to 68. I think it's time to sell. For sentimental reasons, I would love a significant amount of people to hold him. I'd love Tubes to hold him, grow a goatee, go all the way. But I do think the logical decision is to sell now. He's made you a lot of money. Well done, young GI.
Tubes did mention on the snap about he's against Moses Sully this week. He could give him a bath. Look, yeah, I think just now there are just too many good options. Obviously, Greg Marzhew is also a sell. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with some sort of knee injury. I would have liked a little bit more info. I still got a nag. Knights don't say anything about their injuries. I got a nagging feeling he might turn up in round 12 out of nowhere. But I think we can probably take that as that he's not. And I'm going to move him on this week. Buys. Actually, let's start with the holds, boys, because there are some very interesting players being sold off here this week, and none more so than Sav Tamale, who's in 52.6% of teams. He's been traded out by minus 4.4%. Chris, Sav Tamale, I just want to touch on because I think he's proving to be a lot of people's way to some of these premium wingers, centre wingers like Dylan Lucas or Fletcher Sharpe, Herbie Farnworth, these types. I'm really, really keen on the Raiders buy period draw. What are you doing, or what would you be doing with Sav Tamale?
So I sold Hot Tamale last week to get to Kiraz. Exactly what you mentioned, like my way to a premium. So it made sense. I don't know if I could sell him now if I still owned. With that Raiders buy coverage, he has been really good. They had a tough matchup last week against the Bulldogs, so he didn't score that well, but he has been so good all year. If I still had him, I think he'd be a hold for me for at least to round 13 and then reassess it from there. That's my take on Tamale.
Yeah, I'm not selling any Raiders. Raiders, this is basically the best week to buy Raiders. So they play the Titans in round 11 this week. Then they play 12, 13, 14. They miss 15, but then play 16, 17, 18. So they've got excellent early buy period coverage. They miss 19, which is the last of the minor buy rounds, and they miss 15 in the middle, but we can sort of start planning for that. We've got 5 weeks for that. I really like the Raiders this week. I wouldn't be selling Tamale if I owned. I'd be looking for other ways to get those premiums in. He did have a down week, and the boys spoke about that extensively on the snap. I think he's just going to have them. He's only 20 years old, I think, maybe 21. He's young, raw, inexperienced. You're just going to get that. The consistency will build over time. I think he's an absolute SuperCoach star of the future. And I regret selling. Jono, a couple of other holds I've got here. Zach Lomax, Jacob Kiraz, and Kalyn. Let's talk about those three. They're 3 of the probably top 5 premium centre wings in the game. I'm calling Lomax a hold just on the very outside chance that he gets Origin, but I could be convinced of a buy there. Kiraz, in the context of the Turbo conversation, I think is warming for that right wing spot for New South Wales. There is no way I'm buying Kiraz this week if I don't own. And Kalyn, I just think he's priced out at the moment at $6.94. I just think there are better options with the flexibility across front row, second row, and centre wing.
Yeah, you answered that so well, Matt. You asked the question and you seriously answered it perfectly. I echo your thoughts. The only thing I'd say is, Zach Lomax, that big break even is one thing you didn't mention. 118 he's coming into this week, plus first game back from an injury. I'd like to see him get through that. But if he does miss Origin, and I reckon he'd be pretty annoyed. We were saying pre-pod, I thought he was one of New South Wales' best players last year. So if he was to miss, I could see him being rightfully annoyed, and he could be ripe for a big run for the Eels. The only thing is, this is the first year in a while that the Eels don't have a good buy run. Like, I'm so used to it in my head, Eels always have a good buy coverage. I think they missed 15 and 18. So I think he only covers 12 of the 3 major buy rounds.
12 and 13, though. So they've got very good early buy coverage, which I think you still need to prioritise. just to make sure that you're right for 12 and 13. You can obviously always trade out from there. The issue I've got with the Eels draw is that it's hard. They've got hard fixtures through the bye period. This is actually their easiest game, and they're away at the Knights. So if I was buying Lomax, it's just so hard. I'd want to do it this week, to be honest. Even with that high BE, he's a premium run home centre wing who looks like he's not going to play Origin. In the back of my mind, though, I've still got Laurie will just wake up come to his senses and go, we got to stick with Zach. We're playing in the cauldron. I want my best guys there, and that he could just wake up to that, and that's what scares me off the Lomax buy this week. The price is okay. I don't think it's terrible value. I think basically that's what you're going to get, maybe a bit higher. But yeah, then they run into round 12. They play Manly, Penrith, Bulldogs before the bye in round 15. Before they then get the Titans and the Dragons in 16 and 17. So very good post that, but that middle bye period, that bye coverage that you'd be getting these Eels guys for is pretty tricky. So I'd be a little bit wary there. Kiraz, I mentioned my thoughts, and Iro too. So yeah, I don't know about Hero. Bloody hell, I love him, but he scored a try every week. He's 700k now, and I just think there are better options in that price range. Chris, another hold I've got here. I sold this guy last week. Jaxson Purdue, 626k, break even of 75. He's been named to start at 5'8". Now, we know he was a half coming through the ranks, and the question on all SuperCoaches' lips is that going to help or hinder his SuperCoach output, in your opinion?
Well, look, we really don't know, and I think that's probably the best thing you can do is hold if you own and hold off if you're looking to buy, because we don't know what his output's going to look like. He was phenomenal on the weekend. God, he's a good footballer. I think I sold like round 2 or round 3. I've just been watching him every week going, oh, my God. So that's been a really tough watch for a while. But, yeah, he's flying. I wouldn't be rushing to buy him, so don't. Have a look at him at 5'8". They've also got the buy in round 12. Just give it some. After that, they've got great buy coverage. They play, I think, every round to round 20 after that. So have a look at him this week at 5'8". Make a decision in round 14. Oh, round 13. Sorry.
After their round 12 buy, the Cows don't have a buy again until round 27.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So you want to be bringing Cowboys in round 13. I think, yeah, have a look at him this week. You can always sell in round 12, especially if he has a really low score or it doesn't look the goods. Yeah, I think, yeah. I personally think it will probably hurt, but I'd be holding there if I was an owner. The last one on my hold list, which I'll speak about quickly, is just Corey Allen. So he's quite popular cheapie purchase this week at 232k. I'd be holding on Corey Allen too. I don't think he's the way to make money. And the reason I say that is Nathan Lawson is named in the reserves in Jersey 18, and there is a bit of a word that he could be a chance for a debut at some point in the next couple of weeks. Dragons don't play the big buy there, so I don't think he's the one that you're looking to downgrade to. That's just my 2 cents there. I think if he does hold that spot, you can look at him again in round 13 and just pay the tax.
Just quickly refresh my memory. Lawson, is that the rugby union convert?
That's him, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of him. Yeah, okay.
No. I've
Matt,
I've
can
got
I
a mate who's tied in with the No, I was just saying I got a mate who's tied in with the Dragons, and I know they think very highly of him and that he's pretty close. So he's been going quite well in reserve grade. Sorry, Jono.
No, you're good. I was just going to say on the cheapie front, if people are looking for a downgrade, and I agree, I would not touch Corey Allen. Haven't had a thought about Corey Allen since he was losing games for South as their fullback a few years ago.
Mate, you're talking about Queensland Origin hero Corey Allen.
Origin winner. That sucks.
Yeah, oh, far out. That stings to actually to think about. I would be waiting a week. I'd take a look at this Fletcher Hunt for the Knights. He's a 20-year-old on debut. Big raps around him, Fletcher Hunt. So if I was looking for a cheapie in that spot, I'd actually take a look at this guy. Hold off a week. Corey Allen's not your ticket.
A bit of a punt maybe for round 12 if Hunt can take the spot.
A hunt on punt?
I'd have a punt on Hunt. I have no idea who Fletcher Hunt is. I've never heard of him. I'm looking forward to watching him play. I do like that his name is also Fletcher. Just makes me feel good, Fletcher Sharpe, good vibes. Everyone loves Fletcher Sharpe at the moment. Like, there's another Fletcher. How good's this? We shall see. Anyway, let's get on to the buys in centre wing, and my goodness, are there some buys? All right, so let's get through the list. We got Dylan Lucas, Fletcher Sharpe, Herbie Farnworth, Connor Tracey, and Reuben Garrick. The premium of the premium. Now, Chris, I'm going to start with you. I'm guessing that you own a fair few of these. Let's start with Garrick, Sharpe, and Lucas, because I think they're the sort of three most critical that if you don't own them, that this is the week that you need to buy them. How would you be prioritising sort of those three as the most important buys for the buy period?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I own all three, and I'm very, very happy owner for at least two of them. Jono and I were chatting pre-pod about Garrick. It's just not quite been what it could be with Garrick. He's more than capable of scoring 150. We've seen it time and time again. I don't know. It just doesn't quite look right to us at the moment. So I'd probably have Garrick at the bottom of that list, and the two Newcastle boys I'd be looking to get in the spec, and probably they're both dual. So Fletcher Sharpe and Dylan Lucas both duals. So I think they're both high priority. So there's a struck match between them who's top, but I'd be trying to get those two Newcastle boys in.
Do you think Lucas is any sniff for a Blues jersey?
Not game one, but potentially down the track. He's playing enormously. Such a good footballer. So his SuperCoach game is amazing. So good on the weekend for those who brought him in. He scores a try in the first couple of minutes. Fantastic player.
Yeah, I think that Manly and Newcastle have just got that great buy coverage. Manly don't have a buy till 16, which could be a tricky round, but I think Garrick is essential through these buys. We see it year after year. He always pops off during the buys in at least one round. The Knights, I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. I own them. Very happy. Fletcher Sharpe, just a great fun own.
So good.
So much fun. Jono, the more hipster choices, let's call them, a bit more pod, less owned. Herbie Farnworth, and you are of course the host of the SC Balls Hipster Pod, the Sunday Snap. Herbie Farnworth, 723k, 37% owned, and Connor Tracey, Tubes' boy, 4.1% owned at 617k. Either of those tickling your fancies as a buy this week?
I'm a little bit thrown. First time in my life I've been referred to as hipster, but I do enjoy the use of hipster instead of pod. That was good fun. Connor Tracey, I tried to talk Tubes out of Connor Tracey, and boy, am I glad he didn't listen to me. My case to Tubes before he popped off the last 2 weeks was that he had a lot of attacking stats already this year and still hadn't been getting big scores over 100. So he's completely proved me wrong there. I think the price is about right now. He's the kind of player who, when he doesn't get those attacking stats, he doesn't have a huge floor behind him, so there could be some 30s and 40s to come. In saying that, he just keeps getting it. So I might be wrong again. I wouldn't do it, but well done to the people who've already brought him in. Matt, the one I was hoping to have a chat about was Marky Mark. Speaking of hipsters, you've got to go to the Sydney Roosters.
I missed him. You've stuck him down the bottom down there, and I've missed him. Apologies, mate.
Hipster spot down the bottom. I don't understand what's going on here in terms of why he's not being spoken more about by the SuperCoach community. When he was moved onto the wing, he was so widely spoken about. Let's see how he goes on the wing. Guess what? He absolutely killed it. He was awesome on the wing. And then they've had a buy, and it's like everyone's collectively forgotten about him. He's available for 610k, break-even's 41. He's still a pod. He's only in 6.5% of teams or so. I'm very tempted to bring him in as my Greg Marzhew replacement this week. I'm looking at all these other guys. They sound great. Marky Mark and the Roosters, their buy coverage, they're the only team who play every major buy round, every mini buy round. They miss 14 and 17, but by then you hopefully have full strength squads and it doesn't matter. So I'm looking at taking a flyer on Mark Nawangani Tuase.
Just one quick one on that, Jono. Are you a Bobby T and Billy Smith owner?
Yes, but I'm hoping that I'm not a Billy Smith owner by the time it comes to that round 14 buy.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. No, because that's obviously a tricky one for people, right? Obviously, I really like Marky Mark, but I've got those two. So I'm a bit hesitant to bring him in and have a third Rooster to hold through that period. So, yeah, interesting. Definitely worth a look because I think you're bang on. He looked great on the wing and really, really good. I like it.
Yeah, I can't see how Billy Smith's in my team for round 14. Like, just no danger. He can hold his spot there for 12 and 13. But honestly, like, I could sell him at a pinch those weeks too if it's still looking like shit. Yeah, that's interesting, Jono. I hadn't really thought about Marky Mark too much. I'm going to go have another very, very strong look at him, but he's right in that pod range. That Bulldogs, it's not a good recipe bringing in blokes who are playing the Bulldogs. I think I might even wait a week just to give it that. That's a tricky bit with these chooks that I'm not loving. Is just this tricky run through round 12 and 11, 12, 13, where they play Bulldogs, then Sharks, then Raiders before the bye in 14. So it's just that's the only thing putting me off someone like Marky Mark, but like that could pay handsome dividends for you. So I'm not ruling that out completely. Herbie, goodbye. Not essential this week. I bought him last week. It was great fun. He scored a try in the last 4 games, and he hasn't cracked a ton, which is a little disappointing. But Herbie's just going to get the job done for you. They got some great matches coming up. They play the Dogs around 12, which is a bit tougher. Dogs won't be too Origin affected, so you think that'll be a toughish game for the Finns. But he may get fullback, which would be very exciting. And yeah, good luck watching that game with Herbie at fullback. If you don't own, that's just vibes everywhere. Couple others just quickly while we're at centre wing. Christopher, I'm going to ask you about these guys. Jesse Ramian and Dane Gagai. These guys are low 500s. And my interesting stat of the week is Jesse Ramian is actually got a higher base plus power average than Kale Iro. Now, granted, Kale Iro had a game where he got injured and didn't play the full match, but he played most of the minutes. He's only 515k. They got the Storm this week. I'm just putting him heavily on the radar, and Gagai 539k. Could you go straight sideways from Marzhew to Gagai?
Well, you could go to either of them. You sent through in the WhatsApp chat earlier today the base plus power stats, and they were both really high up on it, which actually shocked me. I must admit, I didn't see that coming. So I delved into both. I actually, of the two, I'd prefer Ramian. I just think Sharks got a great run. So do the Knights. I just think he's the better option when the Sharks are humming. He's probably a better chance, and they're a better team of scoring attacking points. But they're both decent options, and like you sent through earlier today, the base plus power stats are through the roof.
We've spoken a lot about like these guys who are great buy period numbers, and it's just so important that all the listeners out there go and look at their teams and just count their numbers for each of the major buy rounds, both for who you have in your team now and who you're going to have in those rounds. We know we need 13. I think 13, you can get away with 13 players in round 12. 14 at a pinch. I don't know if I would make the extra trade just to get 14. We are going to need a lot of trades through this buy period, so I wouldn't go burning them unnecessarily. Just something to be aware of. I'm like I said at the top of the pod, I'm doing a lot of buy planning this year, looking at which teams to target in which round. And yeah, happy to answer any more questions about that on the Q&A pod in the coming couple of days. All right, boys, down to halfback and 5'8" now. Let's start with the buys here. So we've got LKT, the new king, Lincoln King-Togia. He's 198k minus 51 break even. I want to start with him because I want to get clear on who it is okay to sell to get him. Now, if you do have Nathan Cleary and you are looking to sell him, you can flip Dylan Brown up. That's an okay option. But Jono, who are the 5'8s that are okay to sell in your mind to facilitate the LKT purchase? And it just in isolation there. So not how do I put this? Not sort of a view on how good a buy LKT is, although you can touch on that if you like. Have I confused you?
I'll stick with the brief. 5'8s. I would definitely sell Adam Dewey if I had him at 5'8". I think he should have been sold a long time ago. He's still in a fair few of the top 10% teams, and I think they should move him on immediately to get to LKT if they have him at that 5'8 slot. I would also, this is a tough one, and you boys might disagree with me. If I had to do it, I'd sell Cam Munster to him this week. Matt, I know you've been a bit strong on you want to wait to see him rest a game before you're going to trade out Cam Munster. And I do understand that mindset, but if it's my only way, I'm doing it for the cash that it creates, because I do think Munster's going to be rested. I just don't see what advantage the Melbourne Storm have to back him up from Origin when they're already flying high. They got Wishy just sitting there who can cover so well. I just don't know what they have to gain by playing him in round 13. So I think there's a big chance that he plays this week, then misses 12 and 13. And I'd do it, which I know might be controversial.
I'd like a bit of confirmation there because, they play Origin on Wednesday night in Brisbane and then back up 3 days later on the Gold Coast on the Saturday, so he doesn't have to fly anywhere. I could get around that, Jono, if there were two things to happen. A, the Melbourne said, yeah, we're going to rest him. We're going to give him the week off. We're going to play Wishy. Great. The other is if they weren't playing the Titans. The fixture is the best of the year, basically. The only way that fixture can get better is if it was in Amy Park. There is no way I could justifiably sell Munster just with that fixture. Caveat: if LKT was a better buy, yes. I know why people are selling LKT. They're worried about money. They want to get money, and that makes sense. So if you are doing that, great, and that's the way to generate some cash into the rest of your squad. Go for it. I am worried. I think the -51 is a little bit of a mirage. Not saying that LKT is not a good player. It's just that he scored his points here the wrong way round. That 81 or 83 or whatever he got in Magic Round is going to drop out this week, and the 33 is going to remain. So if he gets another 30 this week, his BE is going to be like 25 again next week, 25 to 30. So his cash generation could stall. He doesn't play round 12. You are going to get one good price rise, probably 100k or something, or it probably goes to 300k roughly. I would just be a bit buyer beware. I own him already. I bought him in before his first game, so it's a bit easy for me to say. And I'm trying to speak with a bit of objectivity here because I don't have the decision. But yeah, I'd be a bit torn there if I was a non-owner. Chris, where are you sitting on LKT this week?
I'm swerving at the moment, which is hard because I need cash, but I don't love it. I don't love I don't love the Dragons. I'll be frank. I don't love the Dragons this year. I'm not a huge fan of them as a team. Flano has shown that he doesn't have a lot of patience with his halves apart from his son. So,
a lot of patience for Kyle.
Huge amount. So, Lachlan Ilias could be back in 3 weeks. And then, I don't know. But I think you're bang on. Buyer beware. Look, if you need the cash, totally get it. I hate saying it, but obviously pretty team dependent. But I can't get around it just because I'm very, very wary of Flano, and I'm also very wary of the Dragons. So he's a no for me.
I'm with Jono. I think Dewey is the obvious sell, and he's the most sold player this week, so that'll be the most popular trade. Sorry, most sold 5/8 this week. And then we touched on... So, I wouldn't sell Metcalf, Munster, Brown. None of them would be on my radar to sell whatsoever. Metcalf's just a jet again. I'm a SuperCoach jet. I'm still
well done if you
not
held.
To be convinced quite yet. Yeah, well done. 30% of SuperCoaches have, so it's handsomely paid off. The other guy who I think you can sell is Nathan Cleary. So if you can flip a dual up to halfback to cover Cleary and then get the new king at 5'8". Cleary is sold by 10% of teams so far, and I actually thought this was going to be more, Jono. I thought he'd be a pretty obvious sell here. I'm holding at this stage, but yeah, what's your take?
I'm selling. I'm one of that 10% of the top 10% who have sold. I'm looking at it this way, fellas, and I know you two are both holders at this point, and I want you guys to win the whole thing, and I do hope you make the decision to sell. He's missing 11. He's missing 12. He might play 13 if they decide to back him up. He will play 14. There's his guaranteed game. Then he's missing 15 and he's missing 16. So he's playing at best 2 of the next 6. I think there's a 50-50 chance he only plays 1 of the next 6. So I just think that you have to sell him. I wouldn't be downgrading him huge because I am also of the belief that if you sell Cleary, you are a moron if you don't have a plan to get him back. So I wouldn't want to downgrade him to someone like a Hugo Savala where I have to then make up all that cash to get right back up to Cleary. I'd want to downgrade him to someone that I'm confident that I can move back into that spot. That's where I sit on it.
When are you planning to get him back?
After the origin period's done and dusted.
Okay. So we're talking sort of round 19, round 20, something like that.
If he was to come back and back up round 19, I'd bring him back that round.
So a couple of key pieces of information there missed, Jono. Yes, they play 2 out of the next 6, but they also play 2 out of the next 4. So it's not quite as bad as advertised there. You are certainly... my plan is to sell him after that round 14 game, so I'm going to hold him just with trades at a premium there. If he does, but I can also sell him after round 12 if he doesn't back up for round 13. Yes, okay, I've lost on that not selling now, but I've got guys to sell this week anyway. I've got Marzhew and Nicholson who both have to go, so that's actually made it a bit easier for me to go. Yes, I'm definitely holding Cleary. They play Parramatta on Sunday after Origin. He backs up there unless he's injured from Origin. He backs up. They have to win. Their season is on the line every week for the next 2 months. So there's just no way he doesn't play that game unless injured. Then they play Tigers in 14. Eels, Tigers. I am not death riding that and making a trade if I don't have to. He's captain material that week, those 2 weeks, and just the highest ceiling by a mile for those halves. So I'm going to hold. Like I said, I think there's a very obvious case to sell. But Jono, just for you, because you're so bullish on the sell, it's very, very team dependent. So please make check your own advice. If you do have team dependent questions, please send them in, and we'll try and get to them on the pod on Thursday. Chris, this is such an important topic this week, the Cleary sell. Where are you standing on this? Because I think you're a bit more on the fence.
Oh, I'm big Tom on the fence, but I think you're right. I think I'm going to hold. I'm much like you. I've got Marzhew and Matty Nick to move on this week, so I can hold for the next few weeks, and I'll probably look to sell him after round 14.
Very clear sell 14. The Panthers have said they're not going to back up after that Perth Origin in New Zealand, so that's 15, 16 and 18 he misses. Very clear sell. I think those are your 2 jump-off points either this week in round 11 or in round 14. By Jerome Hughes and Nicho Hynes. So I imagine, Chris, that's where a lot of people are going for Cleary. The 2 big gun premium options. I like both as buys this week, if I'm honest, and I can see the allure. What's your read on those guys?
100%. I'm not as much on Jerome Hughes. I know he looked a bit freer on the weekend, but he has been carrying the shoulder for a while, and his output's been down previously, but he did look really free on the weekend. Yep. Nicho, absolutely.
Mate, just to stop you there, I would have looked free in that playing halfback for the Melbourne team, I reckon, on the weekend.
Very true. Very true. Jeez, yeah, that's a fair call. But Nicho's looked amazing the last few weeks. Like, honestly, really, really enjoying watching him as a Sharks fan and an owner of him in SuperCoach. It's almost like they've gone back, not quite to Nicho Ball, but there's a bit more of it now. And if you don't have Nicho, I'd really be trying to get him in. If I didn't own Nicho but had Cleary, I would be selling this week to get Nicho.
I think that's right. Jerome Hughes is a little bit trickier because they missed 12 and 15. But they do have nice fixtures sort of all the way through. They're obviously the Melbourne Storm. They're the best side. But that's just a little bit too tricky for me, that period. Like, I just think you're setting yourself up for a bit of a ticking time bomb by trading Hughes in now. Last week, different story, even though you couldn't really because of the injury. But I just don't want to plant landmines for myself that I'm going to have to dodge in round 14, 15, 16. There's going to be enough of that going on without sort of more self-inflicted stuff at the moment. So I think you're right. I think Hynes is the pick of those 2, and I'll be he's also a very good captaincy option in round 12 against the Roosters Sunday afternoon at Gosford. So I'm on board with that there as well, Chris. Jono, we've spoken about the holds. Brown, Munster, and Metcalf. They're all easy holds. Brown and you've put the case forward to sell Munster. Metcalf and Brown, easy holds through these round 12, 13 buy coverage. Let's get down to the second row where there is plenty of action. Let's start with the sell, and this guy's a pretty popular sell. He's been sold by 3.4% of teams, much more than that over the past couple of weeks. It's Tommy Cant, 421k, been named on the bench for the Knights. Mate, I am a Tommy Cant owner. How should I be approaching him? I'm currently, like I said, I'm selling Marzhew and Nicholson, but I could be swayed to sell Tommy Cant instead of Marzhew. How would you be feeling as a Cant owner?
Sorry, who was that directed at, Matt?
Sorry, that was for Jono. I said Jono about 2 minutes ago and just expected everyone to remember.
No, you're good.
One of my long-winded statement questions.
Can I can I throw it back to you, Matt? Because why are you selling Nicholson over Cant this week when Nicholson can't lose you money, but Cant is likely to? What's your thought process there?
Yeah, good question. So Nicholson's out for 12 weeks, so we know what's going on there. He's gone. That's obvious. Thomas Cant, however, now it's highly likely that he is no point hanging on to him. He's got to break even at 50 or 51, I think. I don't mind holding him and take the risk that he loses 10 to 20k. As long as he gets 20 minutes, he should get 25 points. And it's just a little. And now there's a two-sided coin here. That's an AE problem in a week where there's not too many captain obviouses, bar Drinky, that you do want to get a nice score. So that could be if your VC goes half all right, you might not want an AE issue. But on the other side of that, if we do get an injury to Lucas or Kai Pearce-Paul, then he's starting on an edge in 12, and he's probably one of the best players that you can have out there. We've seen that base plus power when he gets 80 minutes on the edge. I'm just rolling the dice that I think for the 10 to 20k that I'm going to lose, that I'm just going to hold him for the week. And obviously Nicholson's not going to be there in 12. Cant might be. Cant also might be just another bench. He could be on the bench in 12 and could jag a 50 or something, and that might help, get a score that drops out or something like that. So I feel like I've spoken too long about this, but that's where I'm on Cant. He's an easy sell if you want to move him on as well. It's more just something to consider for the listener there. Look, a couple of guys I want to hold on, Chris. Keon Kolomatangi, Eli Katoa, Brendan Piakura. I just think they're all worth, probably for different reasons, not buying this week. Any of those would capture your interest as a buy. Sorry, Chris, you're just on mute.
Sorry, boys. He was named on the bench, Piakura. Out of those few, he'd be the one that I would look at. But no, none of them am I looking to buy. I think you can sit, watch, especially Keon, who's probably going to get dual status next week. Am I right?
Jono, you're head of G.
He won't get it?
Well, I think you have to play the
second
game 3 times.
Right.
He'll get it in the next batch.
Okay.
Round 18.
But still, I think you can afford to watch those minutes one more week. They've also got the buy in 12, and then if you want to bring him in after that, you can. I did love his output last week. Very, very good game. But, yeah, look, I'm happy to hold on all of those. Just have a look at them and see where it lands. But the Piakura one was interesting because it did tickle my fancy until he was named on the bench.
You could keep an eye on that if he does start, because this is the same thing that's happened the last 2 weeks. He's been named on the bench and he's played 80 both games, and he's had great base output, around that 50 mark both weeks in badly beaten teams, mind you, and he has looked an attacking threat on that left edge. So was he left edge or right edge? I can't remember, but maybe right. But Broncos play Sunday, so it does make that quite difficult. Confirmed left edge, correct. I thought I saw A-Ray hitting him, or Hunt hitting him on that side. He gets Ezra Mam on that edge now. I think he is a good downgrade option, but it's a big risk to take to wait for Sunday. Jono, just quickly on Keon, would you be surprised to see his minutes drop this week?
Look, it was a weird the way they used him. He played 73 minutes straight. So 73 minutes, he did not have a break. He actually sat off the last 7. I mean, I would like to see him used maybe for 65 minutes, but with a break in between. And I actually don't think that would be bad for his output if that's the way they decide to go. I actually think it might be give him a little bit of a freshen up, let him rip and tear for the last little bit. So I expect with the way that the South pack looks, and he's fit, he can play big minutes. Whenever he's done it, he never looked gassed. So I think he should be sitting into that 65 to 70 minute role. I feel confident saying that.
He's massively on my radar for round 13. Get another look at the minutes this week, and then be looking to purchase him in round 13 for around 580, 590k. I think he'll be a great option. The only little sniff again, he could be a sniff for Origin 2 or 3 if his form continues and the Blues have lost game 1. So just one to keep an eye on. Speaking of someone who does play 65 minutes, or who has been, Chris, 4 weeks in a row he's had over 60 minutes. It's kind of been surprise pack of the year. Aaron Clark, 668k, break even of 52. Good golly gosh, I love this role for him. He's playing a lot of first receiver down near the line. It's try assist, it's base, it's power. Just inject it.
I know, it's been phenomenal. Honestly, a few weeks ago I thought, well done to owners, but you've missed the boat. I felt that every single week. I'm still probably leaning that way, but his output's phenomenal. Like, he's absolutely killing it. So I can definitely get around bringing in Aaron Clark. Another one who's dual. So if you've got a couple of those
correct
dual front row, second rowers, he's another one to sort of fit the bill to be able to go up and down during this period. Look, he's not for me. If I'm going to go that premium, I'd probably prefer to go to an AFB or a Joey Taps, but his output's been phenomenal, so I couldn't turn you away from him.
I think he's, if you just isolated them, I actually think he is the best buy out of those three. The problem with Clark is he misses 15 and misses 18, where the other guys miss 13 and 18. 13 for AFB, he misses 13 and 18, and Taps misses 15, 19. So they have better overall buy coverage. AFB and Clark are similar-ish. It just depends how you covered for 13 with AFB. But that probably just tips a scale in those two guys' favour for me. I think Joey Taps, Jono, is a phenomenal. Like, I think he had 91 in base plus power on the weekend. Just an absolute beast. His minutes should be very stable around that 60 mark. I love this bench now for him. Obviously, Hosking's out of that middle rotation. I can't see Sasagi playing as many minutes as Hosking.
Yeah, I'm bringing in Joey Taps this week, so I love him more than most, I'd say. He's in for me. He's actually my Nathan Cleary replacement via Jules, and I feel really good about it. I think he's a phenomenal player. I actually think he's playing the best football he's ever played in his career. He's a real leader for them this year out there. Like, he's quite aggro and really kind of up in everyone's face this year too, which I know you don't get SuperCoach points for that, but I just love it as a vibe pick. So he's one that I'm bringing into my team, and I feel great about it. I think he's very slept on because it's been big boy season, as we all know, and I think for that reason people have kind of slept on Tapani, and I'm waking up.
Wake up to Taps. I like it. Yeah, I am seriously considering Marzhew to Tapani. Tapani or AFB. I just need to work out a bit of buy planning there. But Chris, AFB, I know he's right on your radar.
Yeah, big time on my radar. He's warming to it. I think he's got over that little niggle he had a couple of weeks back. He looked really free on Sunday. Nico's going to him and Nickera a lot. I really like AFB. I think there's some attacking stats coming as well. So, look, I'm really torn on one of those two will be in my side in the next 2 weeks. I can't work out who yet. Yeah,
I don't think you can go wrong. Like I said, this is just very team dependent. Check your buy schedule. See how you can for round 13. And you can make a call. But I don't think you can go wrong with Clark, Tapani, or AFB.
That's fair.
Clark has the role.
Count.
Tapani has the ceiling, and AFB has the value. 655k for AFB is obscene. Just a great price. I've got hold here, Jono. Corey Horsburgh, 550k. I don't really see the point in selling him this week, given you've held him this long. But he's still highly owned. 65% of the top 10% and 4% of teams have shipped him out this week. In saying that, I do think he is a sell, but I just feel like if you've come this far, give it another week. Make sure he makes Origin. They're playing the Titans. He might even get a bit of attack this week.
I'm trying to think how I can phrase this without saying team dependent. Look, what I'll say is that if you had Greg Marzhew go down and Matty Nicholson go down, you're probably not making Corey Horsburgh a priority. If your team is looking relatively injury-free, I can understand why you'd sell him this week. I'd say he's a near lock for Origin. But if he's the right man for you to move on, I think you can feel comfortable doing so this week.
Chris, on my sell list at front row forward, I've got Toby Couchman, 572k, break even to 94. He's out of the team. Pretty easy one here for SuperCoaches.
Yeah, look, injured, gone. I don't know. I haven't seen the extent of the injury, I must admit. But for those who've owned, well done. Like, he was not on my radar pre-season, and he has absolutely killed it. He's played great football. Dual, it's been a phenomenal run, but yeah, unfortunately, he's one to sell, and he's it's an easy, almost sideways trade to an AFB. Yeah, you've got to find about 80K, but most would probably have that in their bank. So, well done for having him for this long, but it's time to move him on.
You've been doing a good job tonight, Matt, but you did skip over Zach
Thanks,
Hosking,
mate.
Britton Nikita, and Viliami Kikau in our second row forward.
Oh, do you know what happened? I did miss all that. I saw the segue. You left it open with me at 65 minutes for Keon Kuala-Matangi, and I thought, Aaron Clark's been playing 65 minutes. That's an easy segue down. I love a segue. But you're right. Let's get back up to those boys up the top. The big buys of the week up in 2RF. Zach Hosking, Britton Nikora, and Viliami Kikau, who has been a super pod for his owners. Jono, let's get over to you and give me something over there just so I can get my bearings back.
Look, I'll start with Zach Hosking. He seems to be one of the most popular bring-ins of the round, and it makes sense. Matty Nicholson's gone down for 12 weeks, like Matt mentioned earlier. We assume that Hosking comes in on that right edge. Well, he's going to come in there. We assume he fills that 80-minute role, which Nicholson was playing. I think part of that role will be Simi Sasungi will come onto that edge and Hosking will push back through the middle at some point, which Nicholson had done from time to time as well. So with all that being said, I do understand he's good value at 501K. When he plays footy, he's a better priced player than that. My concern with Hosking is that whenever he does play minutes, he picks up an injury. I don't think he's been able to go an extended long amount of footy play in his career yet without picking up an injury. And Matt, you said about dodging grenades where you can earlier. That's what's actually holding me off Hosking. I'm worried that it's going to throw up a little injury grenade, a niggle here, a niggle there, and we're trading him out again soon.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, John. I'm worried about his injury history as well. He's bloke's seemingly made of glass. Can't stand the field. The only thing is the price, 501K. As long as he gets through 12, 13, 14, that's just 3 games. So 4 games with 11. They play the Titans this week. Best fixture of the year for the Raiders. I'm just probably willing to take a punt at the price. Britton Nikora, yeah, proven SuperCoach gun. Sharks got a decent run of games. I don't know. There's just something for me, Chris, as a Sharks fan there. It's just irking at me. Like, I just haven't seen these big base plus power games from him. We know he can get a try. He scored a load of tries already this year, and he's still only 542K. BE 33. I don't know. What do you think?
No, he does. I'm with you there. He does seem attacking stat dependent, particularly this year. But that's his game, right? He's an attacking player. There is a fair amount of flair in his game. He runs that unbelievable line. He's going to score tries. He can take it to the bank. Between now and the end of the season, there will be more tries. So
he did this last year.
That's the charm.
He did this last year as well, where he really kicked into gear over the Origin period. I think he was a similar price, and then he ended the year at 750K.
Yeah. Around this time, he came out with I think it was 160 score. Like, he had a massive week. And he's got that in his kit bag. He really does. So, look, I love Britt at the price. I love the Mule at the price too. So they're both wonderful options.
Yeah, I think I'm Hosking ahead just because when it comes to this week, and a lot of that has to do with the round 11 fixture. So Sharks have the Storm. Raiders have the Titans, and this obviously, like, sometimes this is just how it works out, but I will always prioritise fixture, and if we can get Hosking not injured, it is obviously a huge risk. I don't know, I'm no NRL physio, but it's definitely tough work with these guys who do seem to be injury prone. Raiders have this great buy schedule that I think if Hosking can stay fit, he gets a great roll through to round 18, and you can hold him through to that time. But as Jono said, it's just a bit buyer beware on the injury front. Viliami Kikau, Jono, another one of Tubes' boys. 573K. You guys spoke extensively about him on the snap, so I don't need to go too deep. Please go back and check out the snap if you haven't listened to it yet. But I'm sure most of you have. Just a quick one on where you're at with Kikau at the moment, Jono.
Like him. Yeah, I think he's a good buy. He looks incredibly dangerous on that left edge. They are creating attacking players specifically to suit the strengths of his game, which not every back row in the comp can have said about them. And I think he'd be a really good pickup, and he's still at huge pot ownership.
And the Dogs, even though they missed 13, and this is a bit of a watch, they missed 13 and 16, which does make them tricky, I think, as bring-ins. because they are going to be. I'm convinced 13 and 16 are going to be hard to cover. That's landmine central there. But they play Roosters, Dolphins, Parramatta, Souths in between those two buys. So it's very, very strong run and kick out. As long as he has Matt Burton there with him, which he should, he's going to feast. So, yeah, I think Kickout is a great pod option. He won't be coming into my team, but good luck to those who purchase. Last one I just want to talk about there as well while we finish out 2RF is Dylan Egan. He is a minus 13, 508k. I own, most people own, he's 70% owned in the top 10%. Chris, just quickly, is he have you missed the boat on him? I don't really see the point at 508k not playing around 12.
I think there's better options, especially when we're not sure whether he's going to start each week. Flano seems to be playing roulette with whether he's going to run out Luch or him. So, yeah, very, very comfortable. If you've got him done brilliantly, hold him through. If I wouldn't be bringing him in.
You mentioned him not starting just brought me like visceral PTSD from the weekend when I flipped the reserve.
One of Flano's boys, and he's just thrown him to the bench.
Far out. I flipped the reserve off him and put it on the new king, and it's cost me 50 points. And yeah,
that's top 10.
That's top 10. That's top 10.
Thanks, Flano.
In hindsight, it was a bad call, but you can't get all these calls right. It's impossible.
No, that's right.
Just got to roll with the punches sometimes. All right, let's get down to hooker, and it's going to be a very quick hooker segment because hooker had its time in the sun last week, as we are well aware. A couple of guys who I'm calling on hold here, Jono. One is a hold because he's owned, and that's Connor Watson, 612k, 91, break even of. Why would you possibly want to sell Connor Watson now, having held him through the bye last week?
I'm disappointed we're not putting 10 minutes into Cam McInnes again, but yeah, I just don't understand why.
How did Cam McInnes go on the weekend?
Yeah.
Sorry.
He got 58, I think. Before updates, he was on 58, which is exactly what you want him to be on. Yeah, I didn't look post updates.
He has the smallest standard deviation in SuperCoach history. Sorry, that's one for the maths.
Connor Watson's, he's a hold this week. I agree with you. Why sell now? It doesn't make sense. Let him have one last big game for you this week, and then you can have a little bit more information for next week and find the right guy to move him on to.
The other one, Chris, is this is an easy one. Bronson Garlick, big 93 for Big Bronson on the weekend, and he's got a minus 28 break even on a 352k price. Harry Grant named in the reserves.
Say that.
No round. He won't play round 12 no matter what. Harry back. It's just. Could you if Harry doesn't start? Could you?
No, I could not. I think I've said it for 2 months. Why are we trading in at hooker?
We're not.
That's it.
We're not. All right, boys, let's get into captain's chat now to round us out for the evening. And Jono, I'm going to start with you, buddy.
I am so tempted to VC Ponga after how disparaging I was about his season and his game at the start of the pod. There's just something he wants. It's neither was I. It just came to me. No, I'm seriously thinking about it because it feels like he owes me. It's not logic. It's not smart. I'm probably going to not do it by the time it comes around, but I really want to. It's like, Kalyn Ponga, you owe me something. You really don't. But I'd love you to come out and give me one last big score before I move you off for Teddy. So I'm really tempted to go by him. If common sense goes into the picture, VC Drinky, and I'm looking at the C on Terrell May, I think, is who I'd like to go with. Bit of a bounce back from the Tigers. And I know there's a bit of chatter out there about him potentially not making Origin. I'm sure he's heard that, and he'd love to come out and have a big game to kind of, even if he doesn't get picked, to make it look foolish that he's not. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment.
Yeah, I really like that. I think I mentioned it in a chat that I think I prefer May to Haas in the meat and potatoes captaincy segment this week. Meat and potatoes captain's category this week. Just due to Haas had that sort of what do you have, Chris? He had back tightness or something on the weekend.
I think that's exactly what it was. So he came off early.
Yeah, so that just puts a little the slows on Haas for me. Where are you going, Chris?
Look, I've been pretty torn, particularly on the vice captain this week. I've sort of, with my trades as well, I've flipped and flopped around. But I've landed on Fletcher Sharpe. I really like that
Wow.
That game, the early Friday night game against the Eels, it's a good fixture for Sharpe. He is up and about at the moment. I think he's a big chance of scoring well. So he'll be getting the VC on Friday night in the 6 o'clock game, and then Drinky Boy coming off 3 tons. He'll be getting the C. I think it's at Townsville again, the 5:30 Saturday game. So I'll be going Drinky straight C Saturday evening.
Yep, I'm looking at either Ponga for the VC. I think he's the best, but I do have a little niggle that if I would keep Thomas Cant, I just want to see what he gets to decide before who I VC there. I might VC, if he goes big, I might VC Drinky and then Captain May. But if Cant doesn't go too well, I might stick the VC on someone like Kiraz against the Roosters. And yeah, try and get a couple of meat pies. He's up against who's on that left wing for the Chooks? Oh, that's Tupu. So he's not on their leaky side, but there's no. So that's Dom Young and Marky. Although Marky Mark, I haven't seen much of him defensively, but I can't imagine he's
a wing better than center, I think.
So I'll be looking at Kiraz potentially or Ponga for the VC, and then Drinky, as I mentioned. I think Drinky has the highest ball projection, 93 this week. Good fixture, fast track against Manly. How can you rubbish that? 3 tons in a row, destroying non-owners. And then for all the other reasons outlined, Terrell May as my backup captain. All right, boys, that will see us out tonight. Been a great pod. A little bit of a different structure, and I appreciate your flexibility. Jono, good luck for the snap for the rest of the year. Been thoroughly enjoying it and looking forward to having you back on the Tuesday pod very soon.
Thanks, Matty. Been fun to be here.
Thought you might give us a little you beauty there.
You should have gone to him last then.
Yeah, no. I don't think he was onto it.
No, I was ready. I'm ready to go. Throw it back to me at the end, Matt.
Tubes won't be happy with me at all. Chris, mate, good luck this weekend, 18th. I'm hoping Green Arrows. I'm tipping some good vibes for you this week.
Yeah, fingers crossed for both you and I. We can get up into that top 10 and keep the nice roll going. Just a quick one, if you'll indulge me for a sec. Berry Magpies under 11s playing the Gerringong Lions on Saturday. Absolutely smash the kids at training tonight. They'll be fit, they'll be firing, they'll be bouncing off the walls and ready to go. So hopefully it's a huge weekend for me coaching-wise. Super coach and mini footy.
Just quietly, Chris, you're the second Dylan Egan lookalike we've had on the podcast in the last few weeks.
Not bad, that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's taken offence to that.
He's probably filthy.
One of the great junior clubs, the Gerringong Lions. But the Berry Magpies are nothing to be sneezed at. Good luck in that big game, Christopher. And Jono, I'll get you to sign us off tonight. Thank you to all the listeners.
You beauty.